Good morning and welcome to Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, and 'tis the season of focus over at NerdWallet. Thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to talk about maximizing Black Friday and Cyber Monday trends, and I'm sure this is all we'll be hearing about for the next 6 weeks as we get to the key retail season. But the second consumer holiday shopping report was just released at NerdWallet. Tell us about what this report actually analyzes.
Well, we looked at people's plans for holiday spending. So whether they have started planning their budgets and their gift buying already, when they plan to buy, and how they plan to pay for it.
Tell us about some of the key findings. What were the most disappointing and encouraging from the report?
Well, one of the biggest takeaways is that even though people start planning really early, so on average, we found that people start planning their gift buying 2.5 months early. So that's well in advance. But at the same time, they often wait to actually make their purchases, and that means they miss out on some of the big sales that we're seeing. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they wait until after those pass, and then they can end up spending more than perhaps they intended. And of course, the problem with that is that you can end up putting it on your credit card. It can end up costing more than you had planned in interest. So that's something you want to try to plan ahead to avoid.
Right. So do you get the best deals on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, or is it better to wait until Christmas gets closer as retailers are more encouraged to get rid of that extra inventory?
It depends so much on what's on your list. So if it's something like electronics, you want to monitor those prices really carefully if you're looking to buy something specific, because Black Friday might be the day that you see the lowest price, and then you want to jump and buy it. But on some items, for example, Christmas decorations or anything to do with Christmas, those prices keep going down as we approach the holidays because, of course, retailers want to unload extra inventory. So you have to really think about what's on your list and monitor it accordingly, because it might be that Black Friday is the best day to buy certain items.
Let's go back to the debt question. Do you think consumers are budgeting appropriately, and is this the time of year where you really see an exposure to increasing that debt?
We do, and actually this is something that was so striking in our study. We asked people about what they did last year too. It turns out last year more than half of people did accrue credit card debt, and some people are actually still paying it off today. So that's something you want to be really mindful of avoiding, because of course that can just be a weight on your budget and so stressful, and that detracts from the whole holiday season. So you want to do what you can to plan ahead and avoid building up that kind of debt, which can just stick around so long.
All right, and do you think 2017 online spending trends will reflect that of 2016, or do you think we'll see an increase there?
Yeah, well, that was really interesting too. We found that actually people expect to spend about the same amount this year, last year, as they did last year, on average about $660. We did find some interesting age differences. So older people, baby boomers, plan to spend more, around $800 on average, and then millennials have a more frugal budget, so they plan to spend around $430 on their gifts. So some age differences, but very similar to last year.
All right, and to wrap it up, what are some ways to improve your shopping strategy and to set financial goals? That's really shocking to hear people still paying off bills from last year.
Yes, it is. So the biggest is to plan ahead, not only to make your list, but actually budget out. How much do you plan to spend on each person, and then stick with it. You really have to follow through to avoid that debt situation.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us at MarketSite. And traders, as always, thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.